Matthew Stafford, Jared Verse, and the Los Angeles Rams head to Glendale to take on Jacoby Brissett, Trey McBride, and the Arizona Cardinals in an AFC West matchup. These two teams have not met yet in 2025 and will play each other twice to end the regular season. Now, of course, we know that the Los Angeles Rams have had a bit of a better season than the Cardinals to this point on the year, but both teams are coming off of losses. The LA Rams looked a little bit more human last week, especially in the rainier, messy conditions. Some injuries to outside linebacker, edge player Byron Young, as well as Kyron Williams. So I don't currently know the availability of those guys for this upcoming game on Sunday afternoon, but do know that LA has one of the more high-flying attacks for an offense moving the football down the field, and that is where we will start. Now, this wide receiver duo of Puka Nacua and Davante Adams, that's a large part of why this Rams team is the 6th team in the league in points per game that they are scoring. They are the 8th offense in the league, 360 yards a game, and they are the 4th passing offense with 247 passing yards a game. All that statistics and all of that is to say that this Rams team is very dangerous, that the Cardinals are going to have a really tough job stopping these weapons. And to go with that, no team runs more 13 personnel, 1 running back, 3 tight ends on the field than LA. They use it as a weapon with those tight ends in that combination. They're able to run out there. It's very tough to stop. It has misdirection with the pre-snap motion that they put in, and having Stafford under center, they're able to really utilize guys moving in different directions, play very physical. Sean McVay comes from that Shanahan coaching tree. The same that Shanahan's using to his success in San Francisco, that Matt LaFleur has done well running the football, under center, run the football, be physical, play action off of it. In LA, they had 152 yards on the ground, over 7 yards a carry. But the issue with their game against Carolina was they were too quick to go away from the run. Only ran the football 21 times. How many times do you know that Carolina ran the ball? Carolina had 40 rushing attempts against LA. 164 yards, a modest 4.1 yards a carry. The question remains, why didn't LA try and attack a little bit more with the ground game, seeing that their defense was struggling to limit the Carolina Panthers? It felt like LA might seize control heading into that third quarter. Carolina immediately comes out with that touchdown drive. The Rams only ran 3 plays for a total of 1:30 in the third quarter, fully dominated by the Carolina Panthers, and that is the perfect formula that Arizona needs to win this game. They have a threat in Trey McBride that is one of the best tight ends in the NFL. Trey McBride has been a monster this season, and he had another great day against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in what was a frankly pretty dang tight game. 82 yards and a touchdown, 8 catches, 9 targets. 22 points for fantasy. That's what he does. He's been a top 5 fantasy, been a top 5 tight end in the NFL this season. He's been great. They ran the football well, but similar to LA, actually, we thought that they would run the ball a little bit more. Only 19 attempts on the day. I thought that with that 5 yards a carry, they might go a little bit towards, trying to get more explosives on the ground, keep the ball away from Baker Mayfield and that offense. After all, Tampa Bay Buccaneers are able to hold on to the football a little bit more. And at the end of the day, it's important that you have the ball last. That's the key to this entire thing. The Rams could not get off the field. There's a 3rd down and 5, chance for LA to get the ball back with 2 minutes, a chance to either tie the game or, Matthew Stafford score a game-winning touchdown. He does it better than anybody. Instead, they can't get the stop, and the Panthers are just able to kneel the clock out. Now, for Arizona to have a bit of success, well, it will be fully reliant on the middle of their defense. Calais Campbell, a linebacker, Cody Simon, that's starting to come along now. The rookie out of Ohio State, 9 tackles a week ago. Budda Baker in the back end, he had 9 tackles. A PD, a TFL, Will Johnson at corner will need to do a very good job. That's a pivotal guy I'm circling. I've been waiting for a Will Johnson, Puka Nacua, or Will Johnson, Davante Adams matchup the entire season. I'm sure you're pretty excited about that. The emphasis on the rookies to come out and play well. Darius Robinson, I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with him in Arizona, the first rounder a year ago out of Missouri. And Missouri's got some good edge players as well. Damon Wilson and Zion Young. Those are probably going to be third, fourth round picks in this upcoming 2026 NFL draft. So that's to tell you Missouri produces good players. Darius Robinson's a player that Arizona's just been waiting on to get better production and to show up. Bilal Nichols and PJ Mustipher there in the middle. Jordan Birch, the rookie out of Oregon. I've been looking for him to come along a little bit more this year. I had higher expectations, hasn't quite delivered. And then the injuries to Walter Nolan this season have been incredibly disappointing. They had extremely high hopes for the interior of this defense with Nolan, the former number one recruit in the entire country, coming into college when he went to Ole Miss, and he was the number one high school recruit, I believe, back to 2019. So this Arizona team has a bunch of talent, and putting it together will be difficult against this Rams team that's got that physicality. Rob Havenstein still on IR, so won't have him available, which clearly is a major factor. But for Arizona, you look at their injuries, a guy like Marvin Harrison Jr. that came out of the game with a heel injury and wasn't able to return. Not having their best outside perimeter target, that was critical for Arizona in that second half of that game. Harrison's tried to come along, and he's had his flashes in his 2 years and still looking for that breakout, there's no doubt, but he's been very, very close. He's definitely had his moments at times during the season, like that route, that touchdown on Monday Night Football in front of the entire country. That's got the Cardinal fans excited. Certainly, though, it's a major advantage for the Rams if he is unable to go. In LA, that's had Quentin Lake on IR. They've started to run into more injuries. And I said this a couple of weeks ago. The only thing that can stop LA is themselves. Against the Eagles, they just fell apart in that game. They should have beat Philly. 2 blocked kicks. The defense getting gashed in the second half, giving up a 19-point lead. Against San Francisco, a fumble at the 1-yard line from Kyren Williams this past week. A fumble from Stafford when they've got 3 in their back pocket to tie it. 2 interceptions, 1 that happens in the red zone, so they don't get 3 points out of possession. Then another interception that he throws. So 3 turnovers. That is beating yourself. Stafford had only had 1 pick on the year. He comes out and he turns the football over 3 times in that game. That is how they lose. Those are the 3 losses. All of them incredibly winnable games. There's not a single game that's been remotely close to the Rams not having a shot to win. I mean, San Francisco, frankly, they were in a great spot to beat them. And the down 3 with a chance to score that touchdown at the end. 4th and 1 in overtime, down 3 with a chance to win that game there. And then the Eagle game we mentioned. So this team's been in every game. Their margin of victory is incredibly strong. The turnover differential for them is still elite. They're 4th in the NFL, +8. They've got 12 interceptions on the year. That's 4th best in the league. 33 sacks. That's top 10 in the NFL. All the metrics point towards this LA team still being a bona fide Super Bowl contender. That is what LA is. Behind a quarterback that's thrown 32 touchdowns still to only 4 interceptions overall on the season. You want to ask me about statistics? I'd say that's a pretty dang good statistic. What do you have? 2 interceptions before Sunday's game. He's got 4 now on the year. I'd still, at this point, think it's a 2-man race between Drake May and Matthew Stafford. These 2 guys that are captaining 2 of the best 4 teams in the NFL. There's no doubt right now, LA. But things just got a little bit tighter for LA. This is a game they got to win. There's the San Francisco 49ers closing in on them. Remember, San Francisco's got a better conference record, and they have the split, and they already beat Arizona. They already beat Seattle. So the division cannot have another loss in it for LA. If they wind up, let's say, they finished 12-5. That would be 2 more losses, which seems they feel like a 13-4 team to me. And San Francisco at 9-4, it feels like there is another loss coming, or if not 2 in their final couple games. I've got San Francisco pegged as an 11-6, 12-5 team, realistically, conservatively 11-6, 12-5 around there. But it feels to me like 13-4 for sure gets you the division. Seattle, and all the more likely than not, it comes down to that game against the Seahawks on the road. Both the teams going into that game in 3 weeks probably are both sitting there at 11-3 going into that game, and it's crucial. You're going to have to win that game, and that's most likely, obviously, what it comes down to with the schedules not being all that challenging down the stretch. This is a game that the LA Rams should win by a very large margin from the success that they have had as an offense. Arizona, what do they provide in difficulties for LA to deal with? Well, there's a lot of young players on that D. In a year or two, they're going to come together. This Arizona team is going to be much better. They'll be tougher to beat. We'll sort of figure out what they do at the quarterback position for the future. Maybe they have an opportunity to go get a quarterback this year, 3-9. That's in a spot where they could wind up picking top 3, top 4, top 5 in the draft, get a shot at a quarterback, maybe like Fernando Mendoza. But for this game, in order for Arizona to have a shot, it starts with the back end. If LA is going to run the football, let them do that. Time of possession, controlling the clock, and longer drives to score, sure, you have to choose. That's the issue when you play LA. You can't take away the run and the pass. It's just not possible. They're too talented with Adams and Nacua with the tight ends. So you want to bring 7-8 in the box and stop the run. That's there. Nacua and Adams, they're going to have success. And you look at them scoring 28 points a game in LA, that's what they do. They're going to score 3 touchdowns, kick 2 field goals. They're going to score 4 touchdowns, kick a field goal. They're going to score 28, 31, 34 points a game. Against Arizona, they probably get up to 36, 37, 38 points in this one. They probably score 5 touchdowns, kick a field goal, score 38. And then the defense, which we've talked about a little bit here, but now going to that end, with Jared Verse leading the way, is there a better defensive player in the NFC than Jared Verse? Micah Parsons is in that conversation. Jalen Carter for Philly, Aiden Hutchinson. It's a very short list of guys that can compete to that level. This is a very tough matchup for a guy like Jacoby Brissett that was pretty dang good against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers a week ago. Obviously, 2 weeks ago, he played well against Jacksonville. Against San Francisco, he set a record, though, in a blowout, most completions ever in a game with, what did he have, 47 completions in that one against a very good Green Bay Packer team. 25 of 36, 280, 2 touchdowns, no picks, when he was sacked 6 times and got after and still posted a 111 rating and outplayed Jordan Love in that game. Jacoby Brissett's played very well down the stretch. He's outplayed Kyler Murray this season with the health and injuries, so Jacoby's done a great job. It's unfortunate the quarterback spot has to be like this for Arizona, and most likely they're going to be stepping away and moving on from Kyler Murray. But that's the fact of the matter is it's go time now with this roster. They've got the younger pieces that by next year, they're going to be expecting to win 9 games to be in the conversation for a wild card in the year. After that, their goal is to win playoff games. Otherwise, it's another reset with Jonathan Gannon. Now, does he come back? That ultimately becomes the question. So I think that the Rams win this game in a blowout. I see them winning this one 38-13. It's very hard to see Arizona moving the football, especially if Marvin Harrison Jr. doesn't play. With Nate Landman running the middle, Fisk and Kobe Turner there in the middle, guys like Emmanuel Forbes on the outside. This Rams defense is truly as good as it gets in the National Football League. Top 5 in points, I want to say also top 5 in yards allowed throughout the season. Where are they right now? They're right up there at the top in points allowed a game. They've been fantastic this season on the defensive side of the ball, getting after the quarterback. The sacks have been there. 33 on the year, as we mentioned. So I'm going to take them 38-13, still a Super Bowl contender. Now with the Chicago Bears, incredibly ahead of them. Because of the conference record, Chicago 6-2, LA 4-3 on the year in the conference. Chicago has the head-to-head tiebreaker. And if these teams wind up with the same record in conference, the Bears will get the breaker because of the way the schedule finishes for them. Incredible. They both finish 13-4. The Bears wind up with the 1 seed in the conference. That is, unless the Seattle Seahawks win the rest of their games and finish 14-3. Lord forbid for Rams fans. They got to get that 1 seed. It's pivotal that you don't have to go to Seattle in the NFC Championship game and play in cold weather, or play the Philadelphia Eagles on the road, or having to go up north to Lambeau Field, or having to go and play the Niners at Levi, or go to Chicago. Those are the worst places you can imagine. Going to play the Chicago Bears at Soldier Field in January in 7-degree weather and 3-4 inches of snow, that just turns a game that LA would probably beat the Bears, you would think. Something like 27-21. Confidently they'd probably beat them. But on the road, it's a toss-up if they end up playing in those types of conditions. So getting that 1 seed is pivotal. I still believe this is the best team in the NFL. They've got a veteran quarterback that's won a Super Bowl. Not many of those in the league currently. And then they've got a Super Bowl caliber defense, a run game that's great, the best wide receiver duo, or if it's not the best, it's certainly in the top 3 or 5 in the NFL. All that combined with one of the best coaches in the league. All these pieces to put together for this run here. It starts with Arizona. We're going to be predicting their game as well against the Detroit Lions next week. The Seattle Seahawks on Thursday Night Football after that. So please, if you haven't already, subscribe for more Blitz of Blender content. I'm Josh Blender, making NFL and college videos weekly, getting you set, excited, and my goodness, we got a Big Ten championship game, Ohio State, Indiana on Saturday. There's the SEC title game, Alabama, Georgia teams that played for a national championship a couple years ago. The SEC title, this is the 3rd time in the last 5 years that they've met in the SEC title game. So we're all excited about that. And then BYU, Texas Tech, another rematch there. So all that college football stuff, and we'll have the college football playoff bracket on this Sunday. Amazing to think. And then the NFL playoffs, of course, in a couple of weeks from here. So if you haven't already, stay tuned. Let me know down below in the comments who you think wins this game. Arizona, LA. Does LA cover the spread potentially? That's probably where a lot of people are leaning there on the road. 8.5-point dog. Feels like they're going to be able to cover that pretty confidently here. Being upset, going to be trying to lock in and playing at a place where they actually won in the playoffs a year ago in the wild card against Minnesota. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see all you guys next time. Appreciate you so much.
Best player in college football.
That Georgia and Ohio State game, New Year's Eve, is going to be a classic.
Josh Blender, hi everybody, I'm Josh Blender.
To the 40, 35, 30, Espinosa to the 20.